If you are unwilling to face fear, you will always live a life that is too small for you.
This quote reminds me of a time when I was working for a Fortune 500 company, the biggest garbage company in North America, and I was blessed to get this job. And it was an immigrant parent's dream. My parents are immigrants to the United States, and it was their dream to have a child that would go to college and get a good job and get insurance and get a 401k. And so this is the life that I created for myself. I got that job, and after 3 years, they started the process of firing me. And if you live in Texas, you know that you can get fired for whatever reason. You don't need any explanation. That's how it goes down in Texas. So my intuition said that I was being fired because I was non-compliant. It was basically retaliation. And I say that because after I was fired, all of my ex-coworkers called me and asked me why would they call me and why would they put us aside and tell us not to contact you. So there were some shady people, but my intuition said that I was being non-compliant because the last review that I had for that company, the review said nothing about the work that I was doing and everything about how I didn't want to hang out with my coworkers. We traveled every Monday and came back every Friday. So during the week, we would always have lunch together. We would always have dinner together. And I got tired of that. I was bored of that. It didn't serve me to hang out with them. I found their energy fake and uninspiring, and I didn't understand why I was forced to be around these people when this was kind of like my free time, right? If I was working at home, nobody would expect me to have lunch with my coworkers or have to have dinner with my coworkers. But for some reason, they tried to tie me up and own my whole life while I was working out in the field and even the corporate office. And I didn't like that. And so when that was brought up in my review, I spoke up against it. And I was nonchalant like this, and I was like, I'm not signing that. If you want me to sign something, give me something that I can sign that says something about the work that I do. You know, I was annoyed. I was annoyed, and I probably got all up in like this, but you know, enough is enough. When you try to control people, it just didn't sit well with me. In the beginning, I thought the job was exciting. As an auditor, you walk into spaces and everybody's afraid of you. I was pretty young. So after the flashiness wore off and I was presented with getting fired, I realized that this is something I can't do the rest of my life. Being on pins and needles and office politics was below my vibration. I can say that now with confidence, but at the time, it was just being like in the twilight zone. So they gave me 60 days to fall in line, and that was probably the most terrifying 60 days I have ever had to go through. I knew that I was about to lose my job. I came from business school, and I knew that I wanted to start a business, but I was afraid of starting a business. That's why I got a job. So before I was presented with getting fired, I had always looked outside that skyscraper. I don't know how many floors we were up. We were up so many floors, and I would look out into downtown and see the cars driving around and see the people walking around and just think about that I wanted to be out there. I didn't want to be stuck inside this building. I wanted to be where the people are, like Ariel, the Little Mermaid. I wanted to be out there as bad as she wanted legs. So in those 60 days, I really leaned into what I wanted for myself. I felt like that would be the perfect time. In my head, I was thinking, if I really wanted to start a business, this might be my time. So I thought 60 days was a good enough time to make a business plan, honestly, and see how it would go. So if they fired me, I'd execute on the business plan. And if they didn't fire me, it meant that I was meant to stay at the corporate job that I didn't want and that the universe knew that I didn't want. Also, in those 60 days, I had a lot of time to think, and it made me really, really angry to know that a couple of country bumpkins from Arkansas had the influence and power to destroy my income, to destroy my career. That made me very angry that this group of people, just because they don't like me, just because I'm non-compliant to their rules, you can fire me and I can perish and there goes my income. I didn't like that at all. And that was something that I thought about a lot. So that time gave me enough time to figure out, deep down, I wanted to start a business that supported the lifestyle that I wanted to have so that I can control my life. luckily I had a coworker. She was the only other black girl on the floor. And the only reason why I mentioned that she's a black girl is because to have another black girl in corporate is a special thing. And I say that because we did not sabotage each other and we listened to each other. She would tell me about her dreams about starting a business and I would tell her about mine. And at that time, she was all into that stuff. So she came to me and she told me, well, have you heard of this guy, Gary Vaynerchuck? And I was like, no, I don't know who he is. She's like, I'm reading his book, crush it, maybe you should read it. So I bought the book and there was a line in the book, changed everything for me. Thank you, Gary. The line said, if you don't like the job you're at, why are you looking for another one just like it? And that just blew my mind, because then I thought, yeah, why am I looking for another job just like this, just for another country bumpkin to fire me whenever they feel like it? That line in that book and that book was the realest thing I had heard in a long time. And I, till this day, am very grateful to be introduced to that book, because that was the step to get me out of there. You see, I always had the desire to start a business, but the thing about it is that I was afraid. I've never started a business in my life. I was afraid of getting fired in front of my coworkers, which happened. I was afraid of losing my income, which happened. I was afraid of not being supported by the people closest to me, and that happened. I was afraid that what would happen if I didn't have insurance, and thank God nothing happened. I was afraid that I was starting something I've never tried before, which happened. And I was afraid of starting a business with my tail between my legs and failing, and then having to go and try to find a new job and get rejected by recruiters, which happened. It all happened. And as I start this new YouTube channel, I can't help but address fear. This whole time, I was thinking, I want to start this channel, I want to talk about these kind of things, but I also get afraid. And it makes me realize that we all go through the same process. Fear is false evidence appearing real. It's fake, okay? Fear is just made up stuff in your head from things that you've been able to download from the past. That's all fear is. And it's not real. And it made me realize that I'm just wasting so much time being afraid. And I know you're going through the same thing. That's why you haven't started the thing you wanted to start. Fast forward until now, where I was rejected by a bunch of recruiters and I was not able to go back to auditing. My back was against the wall and I ended up cleaning toilets. Thank God. Now I'm making the decision to start my own business, put my pride aside and clean toilets. I am 9 years in business and 8 years in the $500,000 range. So I'm living my best life. Remember, fear blocks your moves and it holds you back from achieving wealth and success. Don't let fear do that to you. All in all, to say that fear will always be there in whatever endeavor you will do. Fear will be there. It's going to whisper doubts in your ear. It's going to create excuses. It's going to keep you stuck in a life that is smaller than what you deserve. I was terrified of losing my job, failing, disappointing my family, disappointing other people. I was afraid of how other people would see me. But here's what I realized. I realized that the life that I dreamed of was on the other side of that fear. And the same goes for you. Fear isn't a stop sign. It is a test at the threshold, a test to see how badly you want what you dreamed about. So here's my challenge today. Take one small step. No more waiting, no more second guessing. Drop a comment and tell me what fear is holding you back. Let's name it, face it, and get past it together. And if this message hits home with you, stick with me. I'm on a journey to push past my fear and build a life that I know that I was meant for. And I'm taking you with me. Let's go. There's a quote that says, see you at the top. I had a friend who always tell me, see you at the top. But how the quote goes, it says, see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded and we don't look down unless we're bringing somebody up with us. It goes something like that. So if you feel that, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and let's do this together. Because on the other side of fear is everything you've been waiting for. And in the next video, I'm going through the exact steps that I had to go through to push past fear and live the life that I actually wanted. No trust fund, no safety net, no parents' help or support, no sugar daddy, just pure belief and action. So if you're ready to stop letting fear win, I'll see you in the next one. All right, see you at the top, you guys.